Imagine a life so in tune that you're already working toward your best without even knowing. This is the capacity of the soul. And I just want to spend some time in this sweet spot speaking with you today about it. My name is Stacy Patrice. Welcome and welcome back to my channel. The soul is in my chart, through my chart, the deep investigative studies, the connections between this realm and others, the interplay between life in its full aliveness and the endings of life are all areas of my own fancy. The first time I saw this in my chart, I had to think to myself, like, now, why is that in my chart? And what does that mean? It's in multiple places in my chart that my life will be one of connecting the spiritual realms and spiritual study to larger themes of philosophy and identity, as well as connecting and shaping the ways in which the world can receive this information and turn it almost as an alchemist into new layers of identity, being love and liberty. Now, why would this all be in my chart? And why would I always be drawn to things that are not only beautiful and very love rich, but also things that speak life, salubrious in nature, which is one of my favorite words, salubrious. It is life giving. It is giving those vital qualities like the life force, like beauty, truth, and sacredness, giving those qualities, sattva, to all that it touches. And so even before I knew myself as a yogini, I knew myself as this person. I was this person in some dark places, though. I was this person in some dark places. All of the lights had not come in yet, right? So I was this person in some places that may have involved, the kind of characters that most people want to stay away from, but that I just found to be so intriguing. The kind of places where people loiter a little too long and do devious things. And I just wanted kind of the in and out of that life. And even some of the places where, there was an opportunity to be a scandal because the people that I was surrounded with might have been into scandals, but where I bypassed those scandals and just always saw that person in a possibility that they had not considered yet. And so that made me popular, but also made me suspicious to people. Like, if who you are is who you say you are, why are you here? Or why are you still here? Or even better yet, how did you get here? And what I've learned is that your chart can show you some things. Your chart can show you some things that really do explain a lot of these inclinations and tendencies. It's one of my favorite things to talk with people about so that they feel okay with it. It's not embarrassing. It's not, you know, oh my gosh, this dark energy. It's like, yeah, you have to really know the light, and to get to know it, you got to see all of it, all of its shadows, all of its fractals. Like, you got to get to know the light. It doesn't just show up one day and you're like untouched by darkness and light is all you know. Mm-mm. And so this energy for me was just learning about how much of my personality really is what I was surrounded by and is very curious and connected to it and just wanted the information and the knowledge. But then how much of it was really there to show me that I don't want any parts of that and I want exactly the alternative. And I just didn't know how to transmute it yet. I wasn't, adept in transmutation yet. I was just seeing it and saying, okay, that's my life. And it was like, no, that's what you don't want. You need to see it so you can identify it. And then identify it in all patterns and people from here forth. And so I think one of the things that a soul-based lifestyle does is remind you that Nothing is this extreme or that extreme. Nothing is, by the book or completely rogue. There are layers and levels. That's why sometimes I say I'm a yogini in the wild, because I do have a very monastic property to my own understanding and my own building of light. But I also love to have a good time. I'm a live wire. I've been the life of the party most of my life and have only since retired some of those capabilities because what that meant to other people to be the life of the party was far too deep in the ego for anything that would benefit me moving forward. And sometimes the life of the party is the person who's being obnoxious, not considering others, causing harm. Sometimes it's the person who's the most drunk or the most, altered, is in the most altered state and can function in it. Sometimes it's the person that's got too much activity, too many things going on. And so, what I started learning how to do and what the light will help you do and what your soul will help you to do is understand the grades and qualities of what you're experiencing and what it is that is best for you to experience. And that a lot of times is where your shaping comes into play. This is why knowing your identity, sometimes restating your identity as a new alchemized version of yourself is important because there is a different shape. And I like to call this a lot octaves. You think about octaves, you know, do 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 do. You know what I'm saying? It's like you can get do 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 do. You can go to both, but one is undoubtedly higher than the other. It doesn't mean the other one is bad. It doesn't even mean the higher one is yours. It just means that there is range. There are places you can go. There are things that you can experience, do, feel, and see. And so when it comes to those different octaves, sometimes that is akin to traveling the circle of the wheel, if you follow the circle astrological wheel, or akin to traveling along the houses, if you follow the Vedic chart. And going from the starting point all the way around and through and back through the starting point is that new octave. So if you were understanding something and learning something on one level, when you get back to the starting point, you're still here, you're still gracious to be living and understanding. You have new information, new wisdom, new knowledge, new learning, new accumulation. And this is exactly what your soul has done for lifetimes. And your soul is like the Akashic library of your being. Your soul is providing you information about things that you may have mastered, learned, indebted to your current self. Your soul is constantly trying to get you aligned with experiences that help you to remember. If I told you that soul is memory, how would that change your understanding of everything that you say is soulful and soulless? Your soul is memory. Your soul is remembering through your spiritual faculties and your physical body in an energetic state that keeps you here long enough to be able to understand what you need to remember. The thing that gets tricky about this is that a lot of people think that the soul starts when they leave without ever understanding that the state of their soul condition is what they are experiencing. Your soul is giving you opportunities to remember itself while you are here in this realm, in this body. It is setting up stages and sets and characters, just like a movie. It's why we love movies so much. It's like being on the journey of the soul in someone else's body, in a different time, in a different capacity or state of being. And to me, that's the most important part to remember. It's why some of the most soulful people choose to be filmmakers or writers because there's something in their body and their energy and their understanding that is charting that journey like it's one continuum. Even the entries and exits is one continuum. And have you ever noticed when you start to get to a certain age and you look at your life this way, it's very clear what's been happening. It gets so much clearer what's been happening. When you're younger, it's just kind of like this obstacle course, and you're just going through this obstacle course and you're being tested and tried. And are you fit? Are you able to survive? Are you able to do this? And that is what it feels like. Like you're going through some kind of test. And people say all the time, I'm being tested, I'm being tested. But as you begin to mature, you realize that those tests are not testing you. It's all development. And that development is going to be to the tune of your understanding and awareness. How quickly you let go, how much you resist, or how well you understand the patterns, the cycles, the lessons. And so this soul journey is so important because anywhere and everywhere on your path, there are opportunities for you to see something that is unseen. There are opportunities for interpretation and connection, as well as remembering. And some people have asked me over the years, well, what am I supposed to be remembering exactly? And I say, you in your natural form, in your essence, in your natural state, not you that got conditioned and built into something, but you that learned and remembered who you were through that conditioning and that building. You, essentially, you, who you are, how you function, and what the soul is leading you through has deep roots. You may even remember other times through a small hint or clue in the environment that you're currently in. Or you might start to say, I don't know why I always have to live by water. I don't know why I always like the energetic ones more than others. Or I don't know why people always tell me I have a regal air about myself as I step into spaces. And I can promise you, all of those things are connected to your soul journey. When I finally remembered lives previous to this one is when it really clicked for me because I have seen three prior to this one. And when I did, it was almost as if I gathered the understanding of like, oh, so when this happens in your life and you're going through this particular theme, you are remembering this part of you that came here to experience something different. This is also highlighted in the chart through your Rahu Ketu axis. It is also highlighted in your chart 9 times out of 10 in places where Saturn resides. That kind of remembering, being committed to remembering, slowing down enough to be able to really get what this is about and make meaning of it, not just breeze through it, move past it, and just be in action, action, action all the time. But of course, this depends on what planet is like ruling your chart, right? So it's not so much just the idea of you've been here before, you're a soul. You don't even have to believe any of that to understand what I'm saying. What I'm saying to you is you is a miraculous thing. You is a miraculous thing. You is a miraculous thing, but you are a miraculous being, right? But you is a miraculous thing. It is something that has had imploding and deploding and growth spurts and stunted growth, and it has had lots of things over time. It is the same way that you view a tree and you see just how old and ancient it is by how strong and big it is and how its stillness is moving, its size. And also, if that tree ever falls or gets cut down, its roots and the rings to show you just how long over time this thing has been there. So again, we're back to that circularity. We're back to those rings. We're back to that moving around a cycle. And these circularities are everywhere. They start to create these spiritual themes that you feel in your life where you're like, huh, it's always something with yellow. It's always something with water. And there's always something with this kind of language. For me, with language, it's always, I think a lot about the native tongue. And I think a lot about what my language would sound like if I spoke my native tongue. I don't know why I think a lot about that. I haven't cracked that code yet. But there's a whole bunch of Sankofa in my practices. And I think a lot about that. I think a lot about the ways that people pronounce words and the phonetics of it all, and how some people have a hard time saying languages that are very flat and need languages that have peaks and valleys so that they can flex and use that capacity that they've had down through their lineage that they don't necessarily get to use. And so it's important to go on quests and choose things that align with this burning desire and need. It's reflected in the chart, but usually you can feel it and sense it through what you're drawn to. So even before you know what you're supposed to be doing, you are already moving toward it. You are already in it. You are already selecting it. Isn't that fascinating? Isn't that fascinating? Isn't it fascinating to be you? And if you haven't found the fascination with being you yet, I would say let some of your ideas go. Let some of your victimhood, your martyrhood go. Look at the blessing that you are still here. And if you can't see the blessing in still being here, I want you to look in the mirror and look in the deep vastness of your eyes, the cosmos through your eye portals. I want you to understand that anything that you need to know is looking for you just like you are looking out at it. And that maybe somewhere in your life you have stopped that flow of reflection. And that is what doesn't feel good, doesn't feel beneficial. But that your learning, your surrender and submission to this process as a soul and having a spiritual life, either as the foundation or one of the many multifaceted layers of your identity, is what there is to see and understand and sense. And I look forward to speaking more about this. I can talk about the soul all day. Most of the things I talk about on this channel, I can talk about all day, but the soul is definitely my sweet spot. And I just wanted to share a little soul note with you today and make you feel so incredibly rich about your life and the possibilities. And as you move towards this upcoming week, I want you to think about ways that you can constantly trust, constantly go on quests, constantly go through your own ideas and renderings, constantly write and take notes about what you're seeing and sensing, and just leave it all there. Don't try and activate it, make it happen unless you're drawn to do so. Some of us are meant to leave it right there and watch the world rise through our observations, our notes, and our being. And with that, I say, make sure you like, share, subscribe, and comment. And I look forward to seeing you in the comments. Let me know what it's been for you. What has your soul journey showed you, and how is that different than how you understood it before? And I look forward to seeing you soon. Peace.